Hello, everyone. Sedo here, and I'm back to talk about season 2, episode 7 of Severance, Chikhai Bardo. If you haven't seen season 2, episode 7 of Severance, please click off. Massive spoiler warning ahead. Come back when you're ready, and we could talk about what happened in the episode. But I'm going to get into my initial theories. I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. Sound off and give the video a like if you end up enjoying, because that's the easiest way to help the channel with the algorithm. My theory is that they're not going to kill off Mark this episode. Maybe he does end up in like a semi-purgatory state where Ragabi is like saving him. He's also being reintegrated, so that that begins to question like whether how's that function, and then Bert and Fields and Irving and their dinner scene. I think Bert is working with someone at Lumen still. Is he severed? Is he reintegrated? Is he never been severed? Did he have a Glasgow block on the whole time? Gretchen and Dylan, I feel like that's going to come to a head this episode as well. I'm really not excited to see how that plays out because I feel like it's going to be emotional. But I feel like this is going to be a very kind of frantic episode. So I'll come back with my reaction at the end of watching this and we'll dive in. I haven't seen the episode yet, so gonna click play and I'll be back. So sound off with your comments, like the video if you end up enjoying, and subscribe if you end up enjoying as well to see more Severance content. Let's get into season 2, episode 7 of Severance, Chikhai Bardo. And that's a wrap, folks. Season 2, episode 7, Chikhai Bardo has finished. And what an emotional roller coaster that episode was. I'm a bit speechless because of how it ended. Extreme amounts of despair and hopelessness in that episode. Not all my theories came true. The main one of Mark still staying alive had, I think some people were speculating maybe he died, and this is the kind of show that has teetered on the line of like not being afraid to basically just like put people and cast them aside for extended periods of time. So who knows what could have happened with Mark, but thankfully he's here. He's alive. Thankfully Gemma's alive. That's definitely like, thankfully she's alive, but the way that they're treating her on the severed floor it's like words can't describe how evil it is. There is a lot to discuss. I'd love to hear your theories, so sound off in the comments what you think is going to happen in season 2, episode 8, which is titled Sweet Vitriol. And there's only a 3-word summary. Discoveries are made, I believe it is, and it's a 37-minute episode compared to the usual like 45, 50-ish. This is going to be a hectic episode, I feel. Episode 8, I'm not excited for in terms of like my hopes for the characters. In terms of the show progressing, bring it on. I could watch it right now if I wanted, if it was out, right? Like I would just watch it immediately. But wow, I want to talk about Mark and Gemma's timeline because I feel like it's worth referencing and putting in context compared to the whole Lumen and MDR kind of arc that's going on here. Because I think MDR is heading to like the end, regardless of, they're at 90+% with Cold Harbor, which is like clearly the most important of the files that Mark and the rest of MDR have been working on because of its relation to Gemma. And since Gemma, as Miss Casey, has consistently been interacting there's clearly a lot of weight on Cold Harbor. She even mentioned to the doctor, who at the end of the episode, thank God to her, she put to bed, for lack of a better term, with that chair. She asked what happens when I get to the last room, and basically he was just trying to feed her some more cure propaganda, and she's not having any of it, which is great on Gemma / Miss Casey, but Milchick, man, I don't know when like Gemma running out through like what seems to be the exports hall was, and like her trying to kind of break free. I don't know when Milchik stopped her, but now he's forever like a antagonist in my eyes in the show. There's a it's so hard to root for him now. I really wanted him to kind of turn and help the innies during like before the whole performance review. Those wishes are well gone. Like there's no way of that happening ever now, I think. Cobell seems like more of a kind of beacon of hope, which I have a slight criticism with the way that this episode handled the Devin and Ragabi exchange. Like it was just like the trope of, you know, not really communicating, like people just talking over each other, which would happen in a situation like that for sure. But like at the same time, like there's this like kind of like malicious compliance that's occurring on both ends where they're not giving each other enough details to like resolve the issue. So it just kind of becomes an issue for the sake of the story. At least that's kind of what I felt. I understand Ragabi has her total, like she's super anti-Lumen, but her finding out that Cobell no longer works with Lumen, and you know, I know that she made reference to her being in the what was it, the Merrill Egan School for Girls, was it, or something like that. She made reference to that. She said, you know, she's Lumen through and through. Ragabi said this about Cobell. She said she's Lumen through and through. You know, she's kind of like indoctrinated by them, basically. And that was basically like this ultimatum for Ragabi where it was like, hey, I'm leaving if you call her. And it seems like Devin didn't even call. You know, she didn't even end up calling Harmony Cobell / Miss Selvig. So it's like, why did that all have to go through? There's probably some setup for later episodes in the season is what I will kind of write that off as for now. But it was just kind of weird how it played out. Like she just totally abandoned Mark. And Mark is like the closest she's gotten to reintegration since I would imagine, at least to our knowledge, Petey, who's, you know, that didn't work out. So it's for her to throw it all away almost literally and figuratively so quickly. I get Ragabi's headstrong, but that kind of felt like, unless there's some greater context we're missing and there's going to be a payoff for that later, I'm kind of against the way that that panned out personally. Because why couldn't they have both just been by Mark's side? I know she was trying to like continue and force, you know, there was this basically standstill between them, but like I feel like it could have gotten resolved in a different way. But I'm just rambling. As for Bert and Irving and the rest of like MDR people, Dylan G and Gretchen, effectively, by extension Gretchen, I should say. I feel like I'm just nervous they could really just become collateral. I feel like Bert is spying for Lumen, on behalf of Lumen, whether he was severed or not, or if he's still severed, that remains to be known, to me at least. On top of that, Drummond is scaring me every time I see him on the screen. He's a terrifying presence on several fronts. So I hated the little cube fake MDR room with the wannabe like stunt double MDR clone lookalike people. Why is there still an Irving there if he's been, you know, let go? Beats me. I guess, you know, if you're a company with that amount of resources, you just reuse the resources. I don't know. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. This episode took a lot out of us, between, you know, Gemma and Mark and their whole arc with the miscarriage that they suffered, the way in which Lumen is torturing her, basically. Her almost getting free, but then Milchik stopping her. It's a lot. It's really a lot. And Mark having all those memories from the past, them melding with like the severed floor. he's also going through a lot. And I just don't see it getting better. It looks really bleak right now in the world of Severance. Um, yeah, I don't know. I have my theories on a lot of things. I might make another kind of deeper dive into the episode and just kind of dissect everything, because right now these are just my raw thoughts post episode. Because I'd love to dissect the Gemma Mark timeline and figure out, because there's like a lot. Lumon lured her in consistently. There was like the male fronts, the fertility clinic seems to be Lumon payroll. Um, there's like a lot that seems to be targeted only to Mark and Gemma, which leads me to believe that even though they see them as useful, they also probably see them as like not just Lumon property, but fully disposable, innies and outies. So I have a very, very bad feeling that Kier painting from this season is going to come to a head. Not to make a pun or anything, but sound off in the comments. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Like if you enjoyed the video as well. Season 2, episode 7, Chikhai Bardo. What an absolute gut punch. I'm Sedo. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one.